Yeah.
I can't remember which is on.
Up on?
Up is on? I'm on? Okay.
All right, we're all set.
Okay, call the Bath Planning Commission meeting to order. It's May 26th, Tuesday, 6 o'clock. Could I get an approval for the agenda?
Move to approve the agenda as written.
Thank you, George. Second?
Support.
Thank you, Ray. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, we'll move on. Anyone have a conflict of interest of anything that's on the agenda? Okay, hearing none, when no public is present. We'll move on to the minutes of the May 12th meeting. Has everyone reviewed them?
Yeah, I got several comments.
Go ahead, Ray.
Under old business, where Jason moved to postpone, the referendum, the word is right in there, because
Okay.
there should be another 5 where Jason moved and I seconded. And then down to where it says, after discussion, Baker called for a roll call vote. If you leave that out, then how do we ever get to a vote? 'Cause nobody ever made a motion.
Yeah. Okay.
Then, because that'll move current number 6 to number 7, and in that, just for consistency, Mr. Craner moved, doesn't motion, not motion, he moved.
Number 7.
Yeah.
Number 7 is where I'm at. You mean 6?
No,
Yeah,
it's 6
renumbered
now,
six.
it'd be 6, it's 6 now,
Oh,
but it should be 7.
7, yeah.
Should be 7.
After the change, okay.
Yep, should be renumbered to 7.
Okay.
And then going down in B, Roman numeral V5, it says something about high-level discussions. Now, what's a high-level discussion?
Oh, it's another word for saying we generally talked about, or the planning commission generally spoke about,
Yeah, but high-level makes it sound like,
like 5,000 foot view, or I don't know.
I just was curious about that, that's all.
It's just trying to thread the needle between being too
Yep.
broad and too specific.
And then going back down to Roman numeral 12, with the millage, Kate was talking about the millage. I think we need to put in there what the millage, why they're doing the millage. It's because of the Headley Amendment.
I think that's fair and probably wise, okay? So I'm always put more detail.
And just in general, the format of the whole minutes, I haven't looked at the other ones this way, I had to catch it in this one. If we have an A, if we don't have a B, there should not be an A.
We talked about that in the past, and then I hear where you're coming from. I've seen it widely done both
Really?
ways, yeah.
Okay, that's just my comment anyway.
I don't have a preference on that.
Then I don't care.
What would you have under 9 then?
I don't know what 9 said, but
Just has A and then it has sub I and sub.
it'd just be CIP introduction with no A.
Yeah, you said no way. I've seen it done both ways. The reason that it's easy to do it with the A, like, the only reason I would advocate for it is just like in Microsoft Word, it just formats it that way.
Yes.
So it'd be like, we'd be going against what Microsoft wants.
Who cares what Microsoft?
I know, it's just extra work, it's
Hear what
more
you're saying.
clicks. Every click adds time and work.
You're talking about AI now.
Actually, we could send it through chat and ask it to clean it up, but that's not very environmentally friendly.
No. Well, the other reason I guess to have it is when people start talking about, I have a problem with something, it's easy to say 6A, even if there's no B.
Yeah,
So from that standpoint, it might be clearer.
I've seen both ways. Okay, but we got a number of edits, Chair,
Yeah.
those are all fair and fine.
So do we want to,
I would
Approve it
move
with
we
edits, or,
approve the minutes with those amendments.
is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Those in favor say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Okay, hearing none, let's move on. Communication, Miles?
None at this time.
Okay.
Mr. Warren.
Yeah, so you want to move on to the drafted maps?
Yeah. I don't know if everyone got a chance to look at the consultant's memo, but I'll kind of break down, what me and them talked about and kind of what we're looking for with this, you know, special meeting, working meeting, whatever you wanna call it tonight. Essentially, they took a look at our currently adopted, and remember, there's kind of four maps in play here. There's the currently adopted zoning, currently adopted future land use, and then the proposed zoning and proposed future land use. Largely tonight, we'll be talking about the proposed future land use map. To get to that point though, there's some good context information. So the context of like the journey that we took for the last map that's in your packet tonight is the consultants looked at the currently adopted future land use map. They consolidated some of the erroneous districts that didn't align with our zoning language as it is on the books now. They absorbed other ones, so for instance, the manufactured home parks just got absorbed into one of the other districts. And let's see, and then the result of all that consolidation and absorbing is on page 16 in your packet, which is this map that's on the TV screens now. So that's kind of a cleaner version. Now, with that being said, there's some feedback that I'll get into here in a little bit. One nice thing about this map that we'll make sure we include, though, me and the chair were talking about previously, before the meeting, I didn't notice, is, you can see kind of that urban service, or we don't call it urban in Bath Township, that service boundary, here, but that largely is where the municipal water and sewer is in existence, and where this body in the past has deemed sustainable development, sustainable dense development can occur. Largely because then, you know, you don't have to build a mile or 2 miles of sewer to get it there. Now, the last map is going down the, line of thinking that we've discussed in the last two meetings, which is taking that rural district, which is the, white district on our current zoning map. Here's the current map, and subdividing it into what would be two newly established districts, which would be rural residential and rural agricultural. Now, as we've discussed in the past, just to reiterate, this would be, in the planning field, this would be seen as a sprawl, controlling move. This move would control sprawl from spreading throughout the township and kind of limit growth on the northern side of Bath, which would also have the effect of preserving agriculture, which has always been a stated goal in every comp plan I've seen that you guys have ever put together. With that being said, the first and second map I showed were work done by the consultants. And again, I've got a couple points I wanted to bring up tonight on our thought on the planning staff side. The third map was me and Madison over the last week and a half, its best shot at kind of dividing this up. This by no means is the best way to do this. We asked in the email, I think last week on Friday, for the consultants to not do any more mapping until we had this conversation tonight. We've got a map printed out here, 11 by 17, and we're looking for feedback on which parcels we like in these districts, which ones we don't. And another, just general point before I turn it back over is, you gotta remember the language for these two districts, these two proposed districts, the rural residential and rural ag are not written yet. So we don't know what exactly the language of these two districts would translate to. But if we put these districts on the future land use map, as discussed in previous meetings, and we put it as an action item at the end of the comprehensive plan, kind of some of the planning department's first marching orders in the year 2027 will be the build out and creation of that language. Okay, that's my spiel.
Well, Miles, let me make a clarification. You said the utility service boundaries, but that only covers sewer. There's very, very limited water service in Bath Township. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
So-
And more so on the south than there is on the north.
Correct.
But yeah,
So those areas that really would appear to be serviced by utilities could be serviced by sewer, but the water is not available.
Yeah, on the north side of the township is largely waters in the Webster Road corridor and, kinda goes up to the schools.
So I think when we talk about parcel size, that's a big consideration, is there a desire to extend water to a greater area of the township to facilitate a smaller parcel size?
That's true, I think off the top of my head, and I can get feedback, cause that's a good point, from the health department on like where their current review standards is, but off the top of my head, I think, and Brett, maybe you know, actually. The minimum distance they'll allow between wells servicing a single family home, I wanna say is 100 feet, and the standard well depth for a modern well is 200 plus feet unless the water table, what is it? Go ahead, sorry, I'm not an expert, I can get
You're
feedback.
kinda close.
Okay, well, I'm feeling good about that,
Depth has to be minimum 75 feet unless there's an exemption.
okay,
So there can be shallower wells, but generally it's 75 feet or greater.
okay.
Here, because of the rock, we usually go into the rock, and that's about 100, 120, so then you extend, another 100 feet into that, and you're 150 to 180, 200.
What is
So
it,
that's feet depth, correct?
That would be the
Depth.
total open borehole from
Okay.
top of rock.
what is the standard, cause I believe it is 100 feet from well to well,
That one, I don't know offhand.
Okay.
Septic is 75 feet, so if
Okay.
you have septic and well to well, I don't know that there's really a rule on that.
well, I'll ask on that, cause I don't know
It
either.
might be, yeah, I don't even know on
Okay.
that one. I've actually never run across that, because it's typically, you have a lot size, your wells, they're gonna be able to service 2 homes if they're close together.
Yeah.
And the other one's gonna be spread out, so they're determined, distances are controlled more by lot size. than-
Yeah, cause even if the lot's a small size, and let's say it wouldn't
Still-
work in the front yard,
yeah.
they'll just throw it in the back.
Well, you're all still drawn from the same aquifer.
Yeah.
So it's not gonna change much if you move it 20 feet over.
But Chair, for your purposes, cause that's a good point with decision making, I will try to gain some of that from the health department, cause that's in our area, the
Yeah.
agency that approves
Yeah,
it.
right.
Okay, with that being said, we're looking for feedback, the vice chair had a question, I think?
Yes. The map you have, the 11 by 17 map, is that of this draft future land use map with the, okay.
Yeah, it's the one with the 2 districts at the
Is
top.
that for marking up? Is that?
We're gonna, as you guys tell us things tonight, we're gonna be over here marking it up,
Alright.
cause we're gonna be, after tonight, mapping more.
I have a question about, it's under the land use descriptions. Currently, the rural district has agricultural uses and structures as a use by rights in the current zoning, but here it seems like agricultural uses is by special use permit. That's page 5.
Thank you.
Yeah, so farming, the production of food and, the keeping of livestock, they're like other land uses in the state of Michigan, that's one that the Right to Farm Act comes into play and supersedes it. Now, you can get into some of those agro-tourism land uses where then it does need a SUP, and there's legal standing for us to gain one. So maybe that's where they're coming from, but yeah, you're largely like, right, ag is it's out of our hands type land use.
Right, I mean, the way that I approach this is just apply the current rural zoning standards to both new districts and then modify from there as we.
In terms of like development standards, like lot size and whatnot?
Development standards, use standards and the like, and then, as we make modifications. I think about this a little bit differently from rural agricultural preservation. More of what I'm thinking is, how are people currently and historically using their land based on where they live in our township? If you just take Webster and you go past Slate Road, you see what is significantly different uses.
Oh, yeah.
Starting with the second house on the left on Slate Road, which has I'm assuming that person is skilled at vehicle maintenance.
Oh, like all the motive, yeah.
And so, and as you go north, you know, that is just amplified.
Yeah.
And so,
And then you get
and
up
it's
here and it's
irrespective
like-
of parcel size.
Yeah.
So you've got people with 2 acres who are, they have a landscaping business and, you know, they're doing some, you know, like everyone on Clays Road has some sort of garden of some, you know, agricultural activity.
Yeah, and that's not unique to Batu, like in my home area, you get so Fenton's in the southern part of Genesee County, you get over into Livingston, so it's still Fenton school districts, but same dealio.
Right.
You get out there, everyone has got some kind of landscaping business, rock
Right.
business, seawall business,
Yep.
and the company truck and their other 2 dump trucks are in the front driveway.
Right. So part of what I'm wondering about is, while we have the Right to Farm Act, you know, we have, in the differentiation for much of this, you know, we've got this light green area, that goes far into the north.
Yeah, which we're not tied to those colors, by the way, looking for input on colors.
Well, irrespective of what the colors are,
Yeah.
You
Just
know,
wanna put that out.
I don't, I mean, it looks like the decision was based on parcel size or maybe agricultural exemption in, you know, taxes.
Parcel size was absolutely one of our driving factors here.
But what you see is, there is no differentiation when you drive down these roads, between what's in the beige and what's in the light green, once you get north of a certain portion of the township. Right? There are certain areas, like off of, I think, Dumaglass, you know, where, you know, that's more of a subdivision type. But even down that same road, Cutler, you know, the chair lives on Cutler. So I'm trying to, one of the big headaches, you know, for me with having this differentiation is, one, having fewer restrictions within, you know, rural agricultural that would be in better alignment with how it's currently used and also how it's enforced.
Yeah, no, I think that's good, and like, okay, back to the original point that you brought up, which was like, hey, I saw they're saying some of this is by right, but some of this is by special use permit, that's odd. And so, yeah, maybe the goal in the rural ag is to make some of those like agro-tourism by right uses out there, cause that's what's going on out there anyways.
Like the Peacock Christmas tree farm, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
So one of the things is, we have a 50-foot front setback in the rural district currently. Now, we can't enforce that in an agricultural situation, right?
no, if the building is for the purposes of ag, well, let's say it's like the principal home, then it's enforceable.
Right.
Yeah.
But what if, a non-agricultural, accessory structure, is put up by someone who lives, you know, in that same district, but it's in service of some other use by right, then there's.
you'd be-
Then you can enforce.
Then we could enforce unless the goal was to, yeah, actually the hardest situation that you get into, that stuff, I think it's in your same line of thinking. And this is like a code enforcement nightmare all over the state, which is, person A owns 50 acres, builds pole barn in front yard setback, pole barn is used for farming, person A dies, person B buys property, person B makes it man cave. Well, that's not ag, and now it's in the front right setback, it's right to farm act no longer protects them, municipality has every legal right to come in and say, you gotta rip this down and move this.
Or start a farm.
Yeah, or start a farm, start ag, yeah. That's actually the most complicated situation we get in, and that's kind of like, and it sucks too, because person B, they don't know zoning and the right to farm act, they're like, I was just trying to chill, okay, the property came with this giant pole barn, what are you talking about, man?
yeah, now he's got 3 antique cars that he stores in it.
Yeah, and now we're at his door with code enforcement, talking to him about zoning, something they've never thought about.
So one question I would ask in that situation is, what is the difference to, the neighboring residents if that pole barn is used for agricultural purposes, or if it's used to store 3 classic cars and, you know?
Well, and that's why I would say actually large parcel size is important here. And that's, again, this is, you guys are driving this one, I want you to have the map you want. But what I would say in my experience of dealing, especially on the code enforcement side, is if you have a large parcel size and that pole barn in the front yard right of way, maybe on Culver Road, let's say, just as an example, quiet dirt road, and there's 3 cars, there is no difference. No one cares, right? Now, let's say that we're actually not on 20 acres, we're on a grandfathered 1 acre parcel, and the principal residence is 50 feet from the accessory structure that's on the right of way. And now we're not just storing 3 cars, right? We got like a hoarding situation in the pole barn, which is not, that's standard stuff. Now everyone cares. Everyone that's driving down the road is calling the township.
Is that the case though? I mean, I could
If there
see
was a
in
hoarding
theory,
situation,
but-
yeah.
I mean, hell, just driving down my street, like, we've got an unlicensed, waste transfer facility. We have, my neighbor is currently building a pallet pole barn, adjacent to his house. You know, I've got my casts, you know, but I don't know if you guys get complaints about what's going on.
Are we talking about Jim's rubbish?
Well, we're talking about pretty much everyone who lives on that road.
Okay, well, Jim's rubbish has absolutely had enforcement, like even at the state level. So, but that's like an ongoing problem with them. Now, the pallets attached to the pole barn, no, man, I mean, no. But again, large parcel size helps with a lot of this.
These are like 2.5 acre parcels in much of these areas, or less than 15, or, you know. So, again, I try to keep in balance on like the left side, Ray here, who is, what do we want our community to look like in 50 years?
And that's, I fall a little bit on that argument too, is like, you might be right, but is that the behavior you wanna incentivize? And it might be, right? Like, far be it from me to tell Bath how to bath.
Well, but then we reflect on the data that we have from our own residents as to why they live in Bath.
Yeah.
And so there is, I mean, we do have, you know, 2 portions of our township,
We have a
right?
little bit of this going on too, and that's where
But where's that voice coming from? Where that contention is?
well, I would recall one, especially up on your road, a lot of I think where there's like this drive to enforce, and we have seen an uptick in the last year or 2 of enforcement complaints. For sure, to the point where I think Roger is straight up like probably overwhelmed with complaints at this point, cause he's one guy doing it part-time. He doesn't have enough hours in the day to do every complaint that comes in, it's just a fact.
Yeah.
But, I remember when we did the kind of like word map thing, if you guys remember early on in this process, one of the larger words, and I could pull that image and get it back in front, but one of the larger ones was code enforcement. So there is some drive now, I think when a lot of people are thinking about that, they're probably thinking Four Corners, they're probably thinking the Village area, Bath, that's what I would assume. They're not thinking Culver Road,
Yeah, or, you know, Kessler's, property on Chandler.
they're thinking about Kessler's property on Chandler.
Yeah.
That would be another one that, yeah, no, I know we have an active complaint on that one, that code enforcement's been working through.
So, I mean, just to sum up, part of what I'm thinking is that, I mean, I personally would like, well, I professionally would like to see more of that beige in the northern part, and you know,
Okay.
whether that's north of Urbison,
Kind of this line here,
yeah,
just going, carrying it up.
yeah.
Now, I just happened to notice, and again, back to your point, we do, because you're going off of like, hey, what's the realities on the ground? I want this map to match the realities on the ground. When I get over into, it's easier to almost look at on this map. So Herbison, that's a good dividing line. When I get over here in this middle, now I totally see that out here, cause these are just kinda outgrowths of the farming and farmers dividing off frontage over time. But it's a lot of open, but this little pocket here looks quite residential to me.
Is that, what are we talking, is that Upton?
I'm trying to look. That's center, that's a section of Herbison, this is Upton here. So there's Upton, Herbison. So yeah, I'm getting a lot, you can see it more when I zoom in, but it's hard because I got a farm in the middle, I got a farm in the middle, but I got all these, this is all wet, so this isn't farms, nothing can go here. So what that's caused over time is
Wild
what-
rice.
whatever farmer owned this, I couldn't farm it, is like, well, I can't farm it, I'm gonna subdivide it for all these houses.
Yep.
So now I've got a whole block of residential on that side, and I got a whole block of residential on that side.
But
Yeah.
when you say residential, when we look at it from a distance, yeah, those look like smaller parcels relative to the parcels, but those are
Yeah,
Those are
they're
what-
still 2 acres,
2 acres.
yeah.
But if you look at, if you
These ones
zoom
are
in
obviously
on
larger.
the actual, the land, you're gonna see like motor cross trails, ponds.
Yeah, this stuff,
that- I
this
mean, that-
behavior.
Those are horses there.
Yeah. No, again, yeah, I agree with you, people are doing interesting things with their land out
Right.
here.
Again,
I mean, interesting in like a positive way,
Right.
usually it's, yeah. No, it's totally respectable, people are raising chickens, they're doing horses, they're doing like ag adjacent things.
So again, I mean, there's people here more familiar with what's up there, but, I mean, part of what I'm thinking is, the only area that I can think of that is more suburban in nature, north of Urbison, is that the McGlass subdivision off of Cutler.
And them are 2 acre lots, I think.
Oh, they're, yeah, and some of them even bigger, yeah.
But many of those people bought that because it was adjacent to, Consumers Energy Land or MSU,
They wanted to be on the sticks.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's 3 acres, what's the smallest one here? Maybe this one, these are probably like 2 acres, 3 acres.
yeah,
So what, I think what you're getting at cause whenever you're zoning, right, you wanna think about like, and I'll get into one of my points, you don't wanna cause a grandfathering effect, the legal term is create legal nonconformities, and you don't wanna cause harm, right?
Right.
So like, to your point, if we go north of Herbison and just go all beige, which is the color it is right now, are we causing any harm? I mean, after talking through this, I don't really think so. That question will get more flushed out when we build out the language of the district, of course.
I mean, I think channeling George on my right hand, well, Ray is on my left. What we don't wanna do is add more restrictions to the current rural, right? To either, of the two proposed rural districts, or, and so,
Well, and you're also not, I don't think what I'm hearing though either is you're not saying like hoarding's gonna become a by right use either. Like if somebody's hoarding and enforcement needs to take place, then
that, I
fair.
mean, isn't a junk ordinance, wouldn't that, address that situation?
Well, and that's what I'm asking, you're not saying get rid of the junk ordinance in this district.
No.
You're saying if somebody wants to have a wedding venue, that should be more permissible, not less.
That, or, maybe some relaxation of setbacks, but I mean, again, it
Okay,
depends, I
yeah.
mean,
We'll build out the language, but you're being like, you're not being unreasonable about it, you're saying like, hey, if there's hoarding that is already addressed in the ordinance, I'm just trying to alleviate the issue of like, person B bought a pole barn and now they have to rip it down, that's not cool.
But you also don't want someone putting up a motorcycle event where people can come in and pay to come in or whatever, or, where they're playing music till 2 o'clock in the morning, cause even Peacock Tree Farm, the people that live on that road,
They do
that
get
was
a,
all rural their whole lives, and then all of a sudden they got a facility down there that's, they're out sitting by their pond, and then all of a sudden, not
Well,
all of a sudden, it's just constant noise from morning till night in the summertime.
we
till
have
2.
had feedback from the direct neighbors of Peacock Road Farm, but even within Peacock Road Farm too, like their lights off, noise off at 11, which is still, for a venue that size, that's early, and so they're trying to walk a fine line of being reasonable.
So I don't
But
think
that's
they're
not to
trying
say that-
say that it's willy-nilly, right? Cause that's not what you're saying, right?
I hope I'm not saying that.
Good, I didn't
Okay.
take it that way.
Okay, so the actionable information that I've got on the table at this point is north of Herbison, we're drawing a line and we're taking the beige north.
The only other thing is, and I'm less familiar with this, that whole western section, along Peacock. I mean,
Yeah, what's the land use type out there?
I'm
Like the
pretty sure that's all ag and a shooting range and,
Well, what's getting north of the shooting range, cause that's actually quite a bit.
You talking about down on Stowe Road?
Yeah, so south is, so shooting range is here, this is all, and you can, the nice thing about the maps that we did with the consultant is we kinda broke out the DNR land. So that's all the way down here, you get north of that, and it really is, according to this, we've got this person doing some ag adjacent use.
Yeah.
But this isn't even what, probably a commercial farm. They might just be baling hay that they supply on the side
Yeah.
to somebody that does
Very possible.
livestock.
Or neighbors doing it?
Yeah.
But a lot of this is actually home, so I could, if you wanted to pick one area north of Herbison to keep in the rural residential, this wouldn't be a bad one. Another area north of Herbison that I could think about that I don't see, cause again, everything we're doing tonight, we need to keep in mind 20-year vision. And there, another area that I wouldn't see changing in the next 20 years is that weird airfield area out there.
Howell Road,
Howe Road?
Yeah, I'm trying to find it on this
Howell
one.
and Watson.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't even know if that's enough parcels to make it, like, to have their own little carve out of rural residential.
But I mean,
I
I'm
don't
not sure
see-
the advantage of making that.
Yeah, I would say they're not harmed by making it rural ag.
Right,
You would just, when we build out the rural ag language, we have to make sure that their land use is covered in the permitted land uses,
Yes, yeah.
so they don't get grandfathered. Cause they run kind of an interesting land use, it's not super common, but you see them throughout the state.
well, I mean, we have one airfield in the township, right?
All these houses along this airfield, are in, either they have a memorandum of understanding or they're in a straight up HOA. And you have to maintain a hangar if you're adjacent to this.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but I mean, that would be an argument for allowing that single nonconformity, right?
Yeah, I would
Just
argue,
because it's
just
such
put
an
a,
odd-
I would put a special, put in the uses permitted by special use permit, just so they don't get grandfathered and they have to come ask for permission if it is to expand.
Okay.
But yeah, I wouldn't say that that's enough parcels to warrant like a carve out in the zoning map. The Peacock Road one might, because they have connectability, it's, I mean, it's all this, so what do you think about that? Okay,
Well, what do other people?
well, I'm looking
Well,
for input.
you do have a couple of parcels out there that I'm aware of that are, I would call non-conforming, Miles, because they're really too small to be a buildable lot under our current rules and regulations. And I think I've discussed this with Beth in the past, and I think we're gonna get into some legal issues there if we tell people that that's not a buildable lot.
Yeah, you're not, yeah, calling something a buildable or not buildable lot, government officials always like, local government officials like to stay away from the term as saying something's not buildable, because in theory, everything's buildable, it just becomes cost prohibitive to get there.
Right.
So in my opinion, that's a non-issue, people just need to figure out how to do it, and if they can't figure out how to do it, then that's on them.
Well, I think the problem's gonna be with the side setback and the front setback and the drain easement.
Well, it sounds like the goal is to relax on that.
Yeah. That's gonna be an issue, cause there is a lot for sale on Cutler Road, on the south side of the road, that's been for sale for many, many years. And, personally, I don't know why they even wanna sell it, I would've just combined it with the parcel they already own, but that's me, I guess.
But that stuff's out there, you know, like, there's a lot on the south side of Slate that's for sale, and it's been for sale the whole time
Yeah.
I've worked here, and the
Yeah.
reason it's not selling well is cause there's a lift station in their frontage. And they
Yes.
have to do a complicated sewer hook in, which they are required to hook in.
Yeah.
Now, again, it's doable, and I've seen an engineer plan that allows it to happen, it's just cost prohibitive.
Right, yeah. Well, the people that build on Park Lake Road next to the lift station there on the north edge of the lake, they put down a whole bunch of those, board hole things or
Islands?
pylons or whatever you call them. So they could build that house there.
So at some point, either A, somebody comes along that wants to put in the work or get it done, or B, the landowner drops the price down enough where it makes sense to go through the crazy engineering that it takes.
Yeah, yeah, so,
Okay, with that being said, so the actionable information that's on right now is some of the Peacock Roads area stays rural, res, and then everything else north of, Herbison is going beige. Just to spark conversation, a couple of the other things we talked about on the future proposed land use map. This, and again, I feel a little bit weird even bringing it up, cause it's in my neck of the woods, but I'm just bringing it up because I would, even if it wasn't. These lots are small, so making them medium on the, future land use would grandfather a lot of these. So I guess my recommendation, I don't know why the consultants did that, I think it's because, let me look at the other map. Cause on the current zoning, it's D-development.
It's not,
Yeah, but I think
it's
that's-
HDD.
HDD, apologies, let me see what it was on the proposed, and again, the current future, yeah, see, on the current future, it's medium. The current future was from 2003, so maybe in 2003, they were like, oh yeah, medium kinda makes sense, I don't know. But that wouldn't be my recommendation, again, trying to keep my biases out of it. If I'm just a planner from outside the township looking at this map, I'd say, no, don't grandfather that large swath of the township, keep that HDD.
yeah,
That Alan?
Or at least HDR.
that's Allen Street.
Allen
Because, yeah,
Miles, I'd like to address that parcel on Clark Road that we talked about before the meeting opened.
okay, which one?
Bushwashers bought.
Oh,
several
yeah,
years ago. I think that should be low density
this one.
because of the topography that exists there.
Okay, and then I said to that, this is a large parcel, I posed a question to the chair saying, okay, fair enough. Do you think in the next 20 years that you would see a development that would meet medium? He said no, but I could see low, which I think is fair, and I said, okay, if you're gonna go low with a parcel that size, I would recommend that we just take this whole block and make it low.
Yeah.
Just so we have a more consistent district.
Yeah.
Any opposition to that?
What are the different principal uses between low and
Yeah.
medium?
Low and medium, I mean, both principal uses are, single family homes. You get into a little bit more density options with medium, but largely in either way, you're in the special use or PUD language. It really affects setbacks. And so even if this sells off and develops out, you know, either one, they'll wanna play it straight with the zoning and just keep it low, or they go the PUD route, which really doesn't, so it doesn't matter, right, either way. But I think low is good, I agree with the chair that low is probably more realistic.
Can you leave that
and-
map up for a second?
Yep, this one?
Yes. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
Well, he's looking at that down around the East Lansing 425.
Yeah.
You got that tan down there, which is rural ag.
Yeah,
And quite honestly,
there's a reason we have that, can I talk
Okay.
through that real quick? Yeah, cause that's a good point to bring up, and again, whatever you guys wanna do here. But if you look on the, I'm gonna have to move it, George.
You're good.
If you, look on the currently, like kind of, Jason was saying, the current land use that's going on there is sod farms.
yeah.
Yeah,
So for us, we were like, okay, and on our current zoning map, you'll see it's actually zoned rural. And on the previously approved future land use map, let me get up there.
Map number 7 or 8?
I'm
Gotcha.
not sure what page it was.
4.
Yeah, 4. You'll see that they had it zoned, it looks like, I hate how they used the same, it looks like they had it zoned medium. So, I was just trying to keep it more in line with what I think will happen in 20 years, which I think it will be a sod farm.
You think so?
I think so, I do, East Lansing's made some plans, but I don't think the soil type will allow it. East Lansing on their future land use, they took that whole 425 and they got as essentially their version of like medium density housing. The problem is, I'll show you the soil map there.
Oh, yeah.
You'll see right in the middle of that, and it kinda carries down into those parcels we're talking about right now, is a large vein of Hodenmuck.
Yep.
So I'm like, I don't know, I mean, yeah, and again, you can engineer your way out of anything, I just,
Well, yeah, but
what are you guys' thoughts?
I mean, would it harm anything if we,
Most likely,
on the future land
Pretty lucky,
use, land use map,
if they get down to play.
make it medium density or development, just to signal our interest in growth, moving growth in that direction.
No, it absolutely doesn't, because again, I mean, the land use they're doing right now is protected by the Right to Farm Act, so medium doesn't exclude, you aren't creating any harm. And that's what was on there before, so there'll be standing and rationale to it.
I mean, I wonder to what extent, that, something like that would signal to East Lansing our interest in that.
Yeah, like, okay, you guys move in
And to
that direction,
developers.
we're matching that direction.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
Yeah,
think
I
it
mean-
should be agricultural.
okay, well, we got one for ag, we got one for medium.
I think that's a message to send to East Lansing. Let's preserve some of our green space. They talk about how green they are. Yeah, I know they're MSU and they're green, but they're certainly developing a lot of areas that are pretty questionable.
Okay, so we got-
MSU is a arboretum, the entire campus, 2 square miles. Yeah,
I mean, if you look at that soil type and you're gonna put sewer in there, and I think Ray could back me up on this, you're really into some big, expensive sewer work to be able to make sewer stable in that soil.
Put it on piles.
Yep. And it's deep, deep, deep to get some stable for piles in that area. So, I think to have it even developable is a huge mistake in my opinion, but that's only one person's.
Wonder where East Lansing's got developable for that old.
But, you know, it's like Miles says, you can build any place if you wanna spend enough time and money, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, we've got skyscrapers in, New York on unstable ground. And they have hydraulic cylinders that are constantly working to keep the building stable.
Well, they could come in and ask for a change, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Well, but making it medium would make it easier for them to come in and ask for a change.
yeah,
Making it, this would be zoning at our lowest intensity district, if you kept it ag.
yes. Yeah,
And again, you never know what they're gonna do. Ag can continue there and
Yeah.
go from one to the other, but we're saying that area is, if you've got the money, developable.
well, then come and get a special use permit, get it rezoned.
Yeah, it's harder, but remember though, it's harder to get it rezoned if that rezoning request isn't reflected on the future map. Because like if somebody comes in to rezone something and it's reflected on the map, then the zoning or the planning department will say, hey, we, recommend approval of this. This is reflective of the map. If we come in, they ask for medium, but on the future land use map it's ag, we're gonna say we recommend deny.
Yeah, you've got a good point, Miles, yeah. Well, compromise and say it's low density.
Yeah, it's a big enough swap where you could really do whatever.
Yep,
Well, okay, how we feel about the compromise, cause I'm just looking to paint a color on
I'll
this
go
thing.
with, yeah,
that's mine.
Okay, alright, we'll make that note on our little thing. So we're going low density here.
So the Drumheller,
Oh yeah, wait,
oh, yeah, sorry.
sorry, just real quick, just cause we're on the south right now on this
yeah,
map.
that little parcel.
This
there,
is
what's-
spot zone, can we change that to,
Yes.
D?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, I think
alright,
so.
Thank you.
Is it high density now?
It's, yeah, they got it on the future, the consultants got it as high, I'm not sure where that's derived from.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me at all.
Isn't it ag right now?
No, it's apartments, but it's just like, it's essentially they spot zone, which
Yeah,
you're
it
not
is.
supposed to do. And it's spot zoned on this, as to why they probably did it as well.
Yeah.
It looks as if in that spot, what is that little driveway that seems to be zoned?
Yeah, what's that blue?
Rural.
Where, this?
What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
Where's that blue coming? What color is that?
That's rural.
Yeah, what?
Oh, I missed that.
It's easy to
Yeah,
miss.
Oh.
Can we just make it consistent?
Giffords had a lot of roads.
Yeah, let me turn this off, what is that?
Is it?
who owns that anyway?
Yeah, I don't know, I'm looking.
Isn't there a little go-kart place over there?
There
Yeah,
is,
there
but
is.
I don't know
Yeah.
if they own that, what is that? This is the
That's
person.
the old inter-river route.
Yeah, this is old railroad, and then
Yeah.
they, you know, they pieced it out to a bunch of different people, does that same property owner? Nope, they don't. Where do they have connectability? It's these people, it's their
Oh,
driveway.
But the driveway leads
Whose driveway?
to non-rural.
Yeah, no, I agree, yeah, it should, absolutely, for spot zoning reasons, it should be changed to something.
Yeah, it
Medium
should be.
density, it looks like.
Okay, cool. Good call, good catch. I didn't even see it, cause it's so weird.
And way up in the northwest corner,
Okay.
you talk about ag and stuff, that's green now. Those are pretty, big parcels, why is that green instead of,
Well, I think we've already addressed that, cause we're gonna go north of Herbis and we're going beige.
oh, there we go.
Yeah.
All the way across, okay, okay.
Alright, so that,
Drumheller.
okay, drummer, sorry.
If you could scroll in a little bit, okay. I was just looking at,
You want me to go on this map?
no, where we were doing that cut line across. So it
We'll
does
be-
follow
We'll be north of that.
parcels, right? For the development, proposed new development district along Drumheller.
Oh, I'm
Now, the
with
consultants, you will see, some of these are cut.
Okay,
And they talked about them, that's typical in future, and now if we don't like cutting parcels with that, the argument can be made, it's common in the plant industry, I find it odd sometimes.
but what's unclear to me is what's a parcel line versus a color cut line?
They could differentiate if you wanna see that.
Well, the only thing I'm thinking is that it's easier for me to just point
'Cause
out,
like-
is that top,
Cause here, let me put them side by side, it will be small on my map, but big on the TV. So like, these are all cut here. And then you'll see, like, for instance, see these angles here, like, they're cutting basically right through all these properties.
Yeah, but why?
That it's just again, you can make an argument either way, I don't know why planners, since the beginning of time, been doing this on future land use maps. Cause they're like, this area,
so, but don't we have a relatively straight line across?
we do,
That would capture most of those parcels.
yeah, like this one, you could argue might wanna get cut, and then you just come up here and grab that, like,
Yeah.
when you have a large parcel like this, I think it makes more sense, but yeah, you could make a pretty straight line with existing parcels.
I would do that only because if you do partial cuts of, it looks like some of the northern, along Clark parcels. I mean, wouldn't that create an argument for those property owners to say, a portion of my property is zone development, could we just extend that zoning further?
The complicated thing that we get into on like the administration side of like this is, so let's say, let me find a good example parcel. So like this guy, he's got a big parcel, or girl, I don't know who owns it. And out this company, this LLC, they come in, they've got it cut, right? And this person comes in and they say, hey, we are looking to rezone, we got a developer we've been talking to make this pencil, they need a density that works in development, not low density residential. So then we will literally go into our system, we'll be like, well, it is zoned 50% either way, it's a toss up. And then we could say, you know what, we think it's a good project, whatever, we recommend rezone approval, or now we have to make a call, or we're 50-50 either way. Or we just say, hey, it's 50-50 either way, the planning department has no recommendation for this one, it's up to you guys.
Thanks a lot.
I mean, for that particular parcel, right?
That's why it gets
It
weird.
it faces both Clark and Drumheller. The intent of this rezoning is for that half which faces Drumheller.
So then we make it more favorable to say, then we might be leaning towards approving or at least suggesting. But let's say that they're coming in off of Clark, then it makes the other argument.
Right.
Yeah, so that'd be a good way to look at it. But that's the dilemma that you get into when you start cutting parcels in half.
Yeah.
That's the effect that it has later.
I guess the one the one just to the right that has that little jut off to your, that one.
Yeah, that's
That one has just the lower portion, but none of it touches Drumheller. That's, I'm not sure why that would be included.
again, it's just the effect of, yeah, correct, but it's just them on a map going here. Like somebody literally, and it looks like they might have drawn multiple lines and like snapped a line and said blue.
Yeah,
Okay. But we can, I mean,
You can change it, whatever you
Yeah.
guys wanna do, I think that makes sense, snap it, to the parcels the best you can, and like that large parcel will cut in half.
yeah.
Alright, we'll make a note. Okay,
Did we decide to change that development north of town there to D?
yeah, I, that's the feedback I got.
Okay, just making sure.
Okay, HDD, but yeah. And then, if you guys didn't notice, was everyone cool with how we did the D-development down here? Kinda if
Yeah.
it touched old M78, it's D-development now.
yeah. That makes sense to me anyway.
We got a couple of things we gotta clean up, if you can see, we got a lot of spot zoning going in here, I don't know what's going on with that, that's just how they came to us from the consultant. And a lot of that is just the attribute table and GIS getting,
Okay,
that's just a GIS thing,
so
we'll get that.
that'll be changed too?
Yeah, we'll get this
Development?
one D and, these ones probably D as well.
Okay.
That pink
Right.
parcel right there?
Yeah,
that's
this one.
high density residential, is that a,
Yeah, it's always been, it's that on our current zoning and it's been that on the future land use,
can we just make that development?
yeah. This one. Yeah, if you guys
Can
honestly
you pull
want.
it up on the satellite map?
Yeah, it's one house right now.
You gotta be behind,
They-
fire, right?
Yeah, it's kind of behind Meyer, they gained their access from the north though.
Yeah.
And it's technically landlocked, but they have this, controlling easement here. And the only reason I know so much about this property is a lot of commercial entities have called me over the last couple of years about this property, because it's right by Myers, but it's pretty wet, that's really that's the hurdle of development there, is there's a lot
Yeah,
of
it is
water,
wet,
and you kinda
yeah.
gotta do something with it, and a lot of it's pretty high water table.
And we don't wanna keep it high density for like an apartment complex or anything?
Well, you put it development, right now, yeah, you could do either way, apartment complex, the controlling factor for this is not gonna be your zoning, it's gonna be where do we put all this freaking water.
Okay,
Right. Yeah,
that's awesome. Awesome piece.
It's a cool property, it's just like, but Brett over there at Eagle is gonna be having a conniption.
I think
Not
you're-
Brett, but not you, but your department, Eagle, is gonna be calling us, why didn't you send the review letter sooner? We sent it to you.
It's really
you never
well.
replied. No offense, Brett, I'm sorry, it sounds,
That-
you're the good part of Eagle, we like Brett.
that parcel is really wet though, Miles, and it's got a really high water table.
Yeah, no, it's crazy a crazy parcel. But there's been, I would say, a decent amount of commercial interest in this whole
Oh, I'm sure there
area, I
is.
just, nothing's ever come to market, I mean, in my time, I've seen plans on all of these parcels.
Well, so it's equally unlikely to be high density residential as it is whatever.
I would say
be
in the
allowable.
next 20 years, it's more likely to go down the development path.
So just for cleanliness, not have a pink spot right there.
One, I think that's where
And
the
also-
that's where the market's gonna push it.
Yeah.
So you're lining up with what the market's gonna force upon that area anyways. At some point, somebody will come in there and do something, there's just the traffic counts on Saginaw are getting
Oh,
too
yeah.
high where the free market's gonna step in.
Yeah.
Water park.
Water park would actually be pretty good, yeah, that would not be a bad one, right? What we do with all the water, we filter it and we put it right back in.
Could you do a bird farm there?
Yeah, you could do, but then again, you get into that territory, development doesn't harm you.
It used to be, where Myers is, used to be one, I believe. I'd like to see old maps.
The build out on Saginaw though, even on the Meridian side, I'm just like, they're going nuts over there.
Yeah, they
Yes, they
sure
are.
are. With apartments, lots of them.
Well, it's surprising to see from Meridian too, since they put people through the ringer.
Yeah.
Okay, we got a lot of actionable items on our front though. We got a lot of text going on. I feel comfortable with this. We will work on our side to make edits over the next week, week and a half, and then we will email this out for additional comment.
Can we get a copy of it too?
Yeah, we'll email it to, like a physical copy, yeah.
No, I mean, just, yeah, email it.
We'll email it out and yeah, just mark up, comments. I looked ahead at our timeline today, cause we were trying to figure out what our lives look like for the next 2 months. And it looks like we will have 2 meetings again next month if everything and this is if everything goes according to plan, obviously it can drive, but we'll have another 2 meetings next month, same pattern we've been having where we will, I don't know why I exited out of the pack PDF. But, where we've been having the consultants come to the first meeting along with other, agenda items, and you guys will meet the new planning intern at the next meeting. Then we'll have the second meeting next month where we'll mark up whatever plans, get it back to the consultant, and the following month we'll go into, so the consultants will have a lot of work, and us unfortunately, it's fortunate, but we will be basically putting the final touches on the draft of a plan. Once that is in a more, flushed out, finished out draft state, we go into a public noticing period for 63 days where that draft is hosted on our website. And at the conclusion of that noticing period, we will hold kind of like an open house where we will look at comments that people have. The public will be invited. During that 63-day period, we'll be reaching out to people and inviting them to said open house. So yeah, that's kinda just so you guys know, that's kinda the timeline that we're looking at.
And then what happens when we have discussions or someone's unhappy with what we have, we just have discussion and.
No, after that open house and the public, the noticing period and the open house, then there will be a meeting held here, on, hey, this is the feedback we took in, we consolidated the feedback, what edits and amendments, changes does this body wanna make, and we make those edits.
Okay.
And that's the whole point, yeah, we're not just seeking feedback for the sake of feedback, like,
No,
the
I
goal
get
is,
it.
yeah, the
I
goal
just
is to
wondered what it
make
looked
edits.
like.
But, the people have all kinds of, some of it could just be nonsense, right, no, that's not gonna happen,
Hence the meeting.
yeah.
What about the suggestion of having a public forum between now and a month from now?
What's that?
They have optional public forum stuck in here.
Yeah, I'm not wanting to take that option, cause that option would cost us money and put us over budget, but
okay.
if it's absolutely necessary, we're gonna have more, we're gonna have a 63-day period, we're gonna be putting out Facebook posts, flyers, email blast list to all of our typical people that like to be involved and have request. Over time, we've built an email list, there's a website for this thing that people have been dropping emails in. And whenever we get to a point where it's like an open forum, like we had at the beginning, we email blast all those people, hey, come to this meeting this day. This is what's going on, we'd like your feedback.
How's engagement with the new citizen councils? Are they all filled up?
I don't think, that's not me, but it's not going great, I don't think.
I doubt it, because she puts that in her Friday report every week.
Friday, yeah.
Looking for more members.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm thankful that I have the planning commission I have and the level of
Statute
service we
committee.
get. Yeah. Hey, but you guys are all great and you guys are all super involved, which is, the goal. I'm not just saying, I mean, no, that's the truth. Okay, with that being said, Chair, I got my marching orders, I need, any questions about the timeline?
No, I don't have
Okay.
any unless anybody else does. You got any other report you wanna give us, Miles?
No, and really that timeline was probably it, and I mentioned, the only other thing was I mentioned is, new intern next meeting.
Yep. Yep. And Kate's not here, so we can't get a report from the, Board of Trustees. There is a question that I would like to ask the planning commission though. Mr. Severie and I have been working on the sewer tap fee again,
So,
and it's become obvious that we need to raise it again. To us anyhow, based on the information that we're getting. Would the planning commission support another increase in the sewer tap fee if we can document statistically that it's needed to cover our cost? Because we raised it about a year ago and we got some pushback on that. So I don't know what the position of the Board of Trustees is gonna be. I tried to get some commitment from a couple of them and I couldn't get any. So I don't wanna spend a lot of time on this, and I don't think Ray wants to either if there's no support for it. But would the would the planning commission support another raise in tap fee to be presented to the Board of Trustees?
May I ask some questions?
Yes, absolutely.
So who are our SCUMA representatives?
Karen and Miles.
Okay.
sorry.
That's great for us.
The question I have is, who is willing to listen, right? The Board of Trustees has entrusted, and appointed 2 individuals to represent the township for SCUMA.
Correct.
It sounds like you're not getting a lot of traction by the Board of Trustees on moving forward with this. So the question I have is, what is it that we would produce that would be delivered to either the SCUMA representatives or the Board of Trustees?
The same thing that we presented with the last recommended increase for tap fees.
And was that acted upon?
Yes, they raised the tap fees.
So, sure.
To follow in, the tap fees, would they generate additional income at this point for the township? Or would it be put in aside into
Sewer
a
fund.
reserve fund?
The tap fees, so just, a couple of things. One, as your SCUMA rep, I mean, me and Karen have talked to John and, Brad about this. I mean, Brad's somebody who's like, you know, the tap fees are historically low. They could go higher. But, you know, you get pushback from basically the development, the home builder community. You know, and those are people to wanna gain their input too, because they're building in your community. With that being said, how it works for the, line item, budget items for the treasurer and Karen's budget for the township is the money generated from tap fees is supposed to be, and generally is used for, capital improvements and build out, like expansion of the system. The money that you get when you actually pay your sewer bill is supposed to go towards the maintenance of the system.
And the cost to process the effluent.
Yeah, so it typically though, you're right, it's kinda set aside and it's its own
It
fund.
is, yes.
Okay,
So, one recommendation is, I mean, yeah, I'm fully supportive of, you know, there being additional work to bring it up to alignment with the experts at the table, right? What I worry about is that there's effort that's put into it, it subverts the authority where the authority has been placed, right, by the township board, and then that creates, you know, ill will or, you know, a negative attitude. I mean, one avenue is for us to do a vote to deliver a memorandum to the Board of Trustees, making a recommendation for a tap-in study, to bring it into alignment with, you know, what we feel as a board or as a commission, to reflect X, Y, and Z that you and Ray would articulate clearly. So that there's a thing that's developed that goes into the public record, right?
Right.
But again, I mean, the better way to approach this is to, you know, talk to the people at hand. Hey, we have local expertise here. We feel that something isn't really in alignment, with, you know, based on our understanding. We're here to help. Would you like our help on this?
Yeah, get buy-in via, like, almost in writing, by like putting together.
Or verbal buy-in, and then, you know, ideally, the board would request this of the planning commission.
Yeah, ideally, but now the so yeah, ideally, the board would be say, like, you would get a call from Ryan saying, hey, Chair, like, we got something we'd like you guys to take a look at. That's not happening, so I think what I'm hearing is, oh, well, in that end, if that's not happening, put together some kind of like,
Like ad hoc committee.
yeah, like a recommendation to stand up an ad hoc committee to review it. Take that to the board, if the board receives it, and it's like, we don't have any interest in this, well, there's your answer, right? But if they say, hey, of course, I mean, information is power, well, then there's your other answer.
Well, the last time we presented a thorough evaluation of why we felt the tap fee should be increased, and they unanimously supported it, but they've never taken any initiative to raise the tap fee.
Yeah,
For
but
whatever reason.
that wasn't recent history though. I agree with like kinda your sentiment of like the feelers that I have out there is like, well, we kinda just did that.
Well, yes, I agree, Miles, but we've also incurred a lot of additional cost here that has not been addressed when we discussed raising it to that level.
I know.
That was
Agreed.
specifically, that increase covered our immediate cost of what it was costing us to buy that capacity at the plant. It wasn't addressing
No,
any additional.
I agree, I guess I'm just saying that like, it sounds like you reached out to get a general sense. You didn't hear a great answer back either way.
Well, I never have though.
Yeah, and no, and I agree with that too, like, that's my sense, but I think the idea of like, well, okay, we'll put it to him formally, put the question to him formally.
In the document.
No, I don't have any problem with that. Is that the wish of the planning commission?
Add it to the next, planning commission meeting as an
Okay.
action item.
Yeah.
All right,
Let's
we'll
put
do
that
that.
as a comment from the commission that they wish at the next meeting to add,
Because
agenda
they-
item.
That's what we're supposed to do, so we're
To seek
looking to the
input from
future.
the
Right
board of
now,
trustees
like you say,
related
we
to
got
tap
two
fees
even,
for the sewer
but we're
system.
not looking
Right.
to the future.
Right.
Okay, alright, noted, we
Okay.
got it in our minutes and we'll, draw
Put it
something
on
up.
the agenda?
Yeah,
Okay, good.
Well,
That's all.
sometimes, you know, the sewer use fees too should be looked at, I think should be looked at. And just the way the township collects them, the township sewer use fees are lower than most
Well,
communities.
they're also lower than our cost rate.
Yeah, so, you know, most people base the sewer use fee on sewer usage. And the way they do it is through the water meter. Now, admittedly, we got people on the sewer system here that are on wells.
Correct.
So you gotta figure out some way to figure them in. And the people, the other complaint people have about using a water meter is, well, geez, half my water in the summer goes to my lawn, it doesn't go to the sewer anyway. But there's a way to do that,
Yes, there is.
by taking their water usage, average water use for 4 months in the winter or whatever it is, and say, okay, we'll say that's your water usage year-round that goes to the sewer. The other way some communities have done it is have them put in a second meter, one for their sprinkler system and one for their
Yeah.
usage. Because that costs the homeowner some money to do that, but,
That's the cost of water in your lawn.
yeah. I mean, there are people in my neighborhood that say, geez, you know, my water usage this summer is gonna be $300 a month. Well, you could, you know, for that, you could probably put in a second meter. And that's the water usage, that's not gonna change,
Right.
but it would impact the sewer use.
Yeah. Okay,
okay.
that's all I had. Anybody else got anything they wanna?
I'll tag on with some more sewer. So, at a previous meeting, we talked about, or I was informed, I forget what the mechanism was related to Kessler's development and the changing of a gravity feed sewer system to a lift station.
Yeah,
We never really got any clarity or consensus on this. I know that some of us reached out to some board members on this. I guess the question that I have is related to, you know, what is our standing when it comes to land use planning and sewer? You know, the recent actions are that indicate that we have no standing of the type of sewer in our decision-making, because if we make one decision and a recommendation, township staff can change that administratively without bringing that back to us.
yes. I had this conversation with the supervisor, Mr. Bliss, yes. He delegated this to the administration. It was his call under our ordinance. He should have met with a representative of the planning commission and the planning department, and that group should have made the call. He elected to authorize the administration to negotiate on his behalf.
So were
Let me
you
put it that
informed
way.
as the chair of the planning commission of this change? Because our ordinance is clear
After it
about.
happened.
After it happened, so that's a violation of an ordinance.
Correct.
Right? You should have been brought in, and then if there was disagreement.
Yes.
Between you and whoever the planning commission, planning departments.
Yes.
Then it goes to, I thought it was the
It
superintendent.
goes to Karen, yeah.
So, but if we feel strongly about this, I mean, I think that's what we need to figure out, is how important do we think this issue is? Cause if this is an important issue, then we can, I'm assuming we can amend, that part of the ordinance on decision-making related to what goes back to the planning commission versus what doesn't, to make that a little bit more clear and transparent.
That would be a possibility, yes. Depends on what hill you wanna die on.
Well, and a realistic assumption of, you know, will that die at
At the board.
the trustees?
Right.
But that's something that, you know, we can make some, we could argue for.
Correct.
Again, if we feel strongly about it.
Right. It's up to the planning commission, I guess. There's a lot of things I feel strongly about. I'm still really upset over the Wishwasher Park, Horton Place thing that gets flooded periodically every time it rains.
But let's not dilute the conversation
Well, I know,
about
but, you know,
sewer.
yeah.
Because we've got at least two people who are passionate about the sewer and, you know, protecting our community, right?
Right,
You know, I would count myself as a third in
Yeah.
that. And the question is, where are the rest of all y'all's?
I don't know. You wanna make a motion, or you wanna,
I'll make
Have a
motions all day long,
discussion, or-
but like,
or do you wanna?
last time, I was the sole vote, yes vote on a motion that I made.
I saw that, yeah.
I'm still bitter about that.
Well, sometimes you gotta decide what hill you wanna die on. Mark, you had something you wanted to say?
The change from lift and so forth, I'm going to ask a question because I don't know the answer to it. Did it negatively impact the township by switching? Or was that cost borne by the developer?
The cost of building the lift station will be borne by the developer. The cost of the maintenance of the lift station will be borne by the users of the system at
All
large.
of us.
Yes,
Well, wait, users of the system at large, meaning all sewer
users,
subscribers,
correct, yes.
not those who reside in
Not
that
in that
development, that will
special-
be utilizing that lift station.
That is correct.
Is that-
And we don't have a way to create the special assessment for that area.
No, I think we do.
You could.
We
That'd be-
could,
You
yes.
could make it
It would be
very,
the planning commission. that
you
would
could make it a
sort of
very
be doing that.
complicated sewer use thing. And 'cause every lift station, not every lift station services everybody. I mean, the ones down by Chandler Road service a very small
Specific.
population.
Right,
But you could take a look at and say, okay, the sewage from my house goes through how many lift stations? I should contribute to the maintenance of those lift stations, but not
Yes.
to the ones that it doesn't go through. Well, that would be a complicated
yeah, yeah.
thing to do
So
that,
it's
but,
on all in.
but in a case like the one down in Kessler Development, that affects those 40 people and that's it.
Yep,
Now, of course, once it goes from there, it goes to some more lift stations probably. that
right, yes,
everybody
it
pays
does.
for, but-
Yep. Goes to 6 or
And
7.
I think,
I'd
I
have
think
to
there
go
have been
count.
some instances in some townships that will take a situation like that, and they will do a special assessment just for that one subdivision,
Yes,
to cover the maintenance of that lift station. So that is possible.
But couldn't that have been a condition of the special use permit, had we known about that?
Yeah, I think so.
yeah,
So
it could have been, yes.
that seems like a material planning element of benefit to the community, writ large.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that was up to whoever negotiated with Kessler to do the lift station as opposed to gravity. They could have certainly done that at the time.
I mean, I think there's larger governance issues there in terms of, you know, the decision was made outside of both an appointed body as well as the elected body.
Yes. That's a discussion we could
And
have.
for something that has, you know, at least a partial community-wide financial downstream impact, that really should have gone through, you know, approval process through the voting, the elected officials.
Well, quite honestly, at this point in time, I don't even know if that development's gonna materialize. There's still a lot of,
That's not his point.
You're not helping us here, man.
well, I'm just giving you the facts.
Yeah, on a smaller scale, and I don't know, I haven't checked in to see, but I heard the homes that are being built on Club Course, closer to Chandler, cannot use gravity sewer to get into the sewer line, because the sewer line is too high.
That's correct.
So they've got to put a lift station in there, which would be the 100% cost of the
There'll be
homeowner for that home.
a grinder pump.
A grinder,
No,
yeah.
each home is gonna put in a grinder pump.
Yeah.
What's that?
Each home
yeah.
is gonna have their own
Some-
grinder
yeah, I don't know
pump.
if they all
Not
will or
each,
not.
but the ones at the end may.
Yeah.
I didn't hear the final result on that.
Yeah, I don't know either. Well, they started digging another hole today.
But that's something that happens all over the township, but there's,
Yeah.
some that were that case in, Hamilton's neighborhood, even though it's gravity main lines in the road, there, some of those basements, to get basement service had grinder pumps.
Yeah.
Well, there are areas where there are gravity sewer, but they still have a grinder pump because they.
Yeah, it's just the
want-
depth to the road and they want basement service.
They want basement system, yeah.
Yeah.
That's not unusual. And the school on State Road put in grinder pump system to force it into the force main. Cause the lift stations,
Force main, they didn't
Too
have a
far.
choice there, they had to keep
Right.
it pressurized.
they'd have to go through private property to get to the lift station.
And A&D Repair had to do the same thing, they had to do a grinder pump when they tapped into force
Yeah.
main.
Yeah, it's not unusual. Anybody got anything else?
Thank you for numbering the pages on our maps, though, that was very helpful.
Yeah, thanks, Miles.
Thank you guys for all your hard work during the week.
They've been really busy. They really have, George. Especially with the holiday. So, anybody wanna make a motion to adjourn? Or do you wanna have some more
So
discussion?
moved.
So move. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Meeting's adjourned.